In this lesson, you'll learn how to create a movie in 5 minutes. You'll create a library, an event, and a project. You'll import from a file on your computer. You'll edit that to the timeline. You'll add a title. You'll add transitions. You'll add music, add photos, and export to YouTube. The first thing we need to do is to create a location where we can put our footage. We'll come up to the File menu, we will select Create a New Library, and we'll call that library 18 footers, and we'll save it to our hard disk. Once that library is created, then we can start importing our media. So we'll select Import, and then there's the 18 footers footage. Here it is here. We're now going to import all of the footage, and we'll copy the files and create optimized media. And now we'll select Import. If we look here now, here is all of our footage. We need now to create a project. We right click, we'll call this New Project, and we will set it based on the first video clip. There's our new project. Here's our footage. So we'll simply look in the footage here. Let's select the crew for the boat. So we've clicked and dragged this piece of footage. We're going to use the E key to import that into the new project, and you'll see it appears here in the bottom there. So there is that footage there. We're now going to show the boats being prepared. So we've clicked and dragged. We're now going to see the boats launched. So again, clicked and dragged. We're now going to see the boats on the water. So click somebody having a problem here. So we will set an in point. That's using the I key, and an out point using the O key, and using the E on the keyboard, or in this case we'll select this button here, which is the same thing, and select that footage into the timeline. And we might go to the end of the footage now, and we will see one of the boats going around a marker. We'll add that to the footage, and finally we'll see the winners going past the finish line, and use the E key for that. So there is our complete edit. If we look here and scrub through it, the people, the surroundings, launching, problem, on the water around the marker, at the finish point. So our next point will be to add a title to this. If we press the home key, that takes the playhead to the head of the footage. And then if we move over here to the title generators and select the slide and double click that, that brings it in above the clips below, so that when you play through it towards the end here, then it opens up with our movie. We're going to select this, and we're going to change the title to Sydney and 18 footers. We're just going to change the size a little to make it a little bit smaller. And then if we hover through that, we can see Sydney 18 footers. Information is not needed anymore, so we can delete that. And as this moves through now, this opens with the human interest. Then there is the location scene, and then the boats moving out. Perhaps we should put a transition in here to give it some smoothness between that shot and that shot. And if we come to the transitions, and if we select dissolves, the cross dissolve, which is our default, we could double click that and it could open at the edit point, or we can drag it and place it over there. We can then adjust the length of that. It's a little shorter, and so playing through there now, there it is. So let's now add some photos to our movie. If we come over here to the camera icon and click on that, we'll go to the Sydney scenes. Here's a scene of the Opera House. Let's drag that and position that between these two clips, and we'll shorten it just a little. Let's click on it now, and we can see that it doesn't fill the whole frame. There's these black bars either side. So by clicking on this item here and making sure that it's on transform, we can see the dots either side, and that will let us fill the frame with that image there. And let's add another one now. Let's perhaps add the harbour bridge. And so if we drag that one and position it in between these two clips, you can see how it's going to pop in there. Shorten that. We'll come to it. It again doesn't fill the frame, so let's select the dots. And now it does fill the frame, so that when we play through it, it's probably there a little too long, so let's just shorten that. And we'll appropriately shorten this one here by dragging on the outside. You can drag either side. And now we have photos inserted into our movie. As you won't have these images in your iPhoto library, you could use images from your library, or if you want to use the actual images, you'll find them in the supplied clips with the Sydney Harbour clips, and here is the Opera House clip, which you can select in the event browser and drag and position in the location that you want it to be, and you'll see it needs resizing there. Now you can also resize by using the spatial conform here in the library. Currently it's set to fit, which is the original size, but you could set it to fill, and so it now fills the image. But what this has done is it's actually stretched the image rather than where you had it before, where you could keep the aspect ratio. Over to you. You can also then now put the Harbour Bridge clip in, and let's just select an in and out point there. And now instead of dragging it, we can position the cursor where we want it to be and press the W key, and that positions it in there in between those two clips. Again, it will need to be resized, so you could use the fill there. We are now going to add some music. So be careful when you add music. You may not have copyright to the commercial music. I'm going here to some production music, and we're going to search one for The Beach, and there it is, By the Beach. I can simply click on that and drag it into the timeline, and you can see here that these orange lines are indicating that it's playing a little loud, though you can always check that when you play it. But let's just drop that down there now. We can see in the audio here that it's set at -1, so let's bring it down to -3. You could also type in there. So that we can see this in a little more detail, we're going to click on this icon here and increase the size or the height of the clip so that we can see more of it. We could in fact select this selection here, or could see much more. And then if we move over on the left hand side here, you'll see with the double-sided arrows you can create a fade, and we want to fade out at the end, so we will put the cursor at this position, and with the blade tool we will cut it, and once it's cut we can then click on it and delete it, and again on this right hand side we can fade out, so that when we play through now we will have this completed video. And you'll notice when it played through where the Opera House was, it was rather fuzzy like so, but that's because that file has not rendered as yet, And you can see where it's parked on the clip there. That's the resolution that you'll see in the completed movie. And finally, now we need to export this to YouTube. So we're going to move over here to the share button, and you can see that there's a YouTube option, and we'll simply select next. And this is going to ask us if we own the copyright, so remembering that about music particularly. Publish that, and it's now going to YouTube. What you will need to do is to give YouTube your login and your password, which has already been done in this situation because I have a link to YouTube directly. We can now check what is happening in the sharing, and you can see it's transcoding our new project at 720p, and it's 9% completed. If you should wish to stop it, you can click the X button. And that's making a movie in 5 minutes. Of course, our explanation has taken a little longer than that 5 minutes, but if you were to do this as a direct exercise without going through the options that I showed you, it'd be well under 5 minutes.